Hello, it's May 12th, 2026. I'm Joe Weston, and we're here for our online Global Heart Gathering. And as for those of you who come regularly, you will see I have a different background again. I'm traveling. I'm in Milan, back in Milan. I love taking you all around the world with me where I go and sharing with you, sharing my heart, connecting with your hearts. And here we are. There's a few things I want to discuss today and then get us into our practice. First of all, I have to share, many of you know that we just did our heart walk in Amsterdam, and it was so beautiful. It was a big success. For those of you who don't know, I talked about this a bit. I've been doing heart walks in cities around the world since 2003, where I go to a city and I take a map of the city and I find in the city streets a shape of a heart and I create a route, and I walk that sometimes alone as a meditation of peace and compassion and love. And I've done that many times with groups of people, like in San Francisco, in Washington, D.C., which I've talked about. We're walking around the White House, in Jerusalem, in Shanghai, in various places. And we just did our official one in Amsterdam just on Saturday. And it was quite beautiful. We had beautiful weather. We had a lot of people walking with us, but mostly we have a lot of people online and we have people come and speak. So please get on our website, my website, joeweston.com, and check the event page and get on our mailing list to find out when we are doing our next heart walk and what city. And if you'd like to do a heart walk, and I'll explain why that there's a power in that. In your city, let me know and we can maybe figure out if we can do heart walks together. The idea of the heart walks is part of this idea of compassion in action. What is it going to take to get to move us into action from our compassionate hearts? And that's really what we've been doing with this global heart gathering since 2017 is cultivating more resilience and fierce compassion and stretching like exercising, like conditioning training, stretching our heart muscles to be able, not the literal heart, but our loving heart, our heart center, our heart self, but like training it like sports training to be able to be more durable and more resilient and stronger to be able to take on, in essence, the commitment for love and compassion for more beings on this planet without it burning us out, right? I could get up and I can say today that I'm going to jump a pole vault. I'm going to jump 3 meters or 9 feet. And everyone will look at me like I'm crazy because I would be crazy. I am crazy if I say that because I would hurt myself. There's no way without having done any training in pole vaulting that I can jump over 3 meters or 9 feet. But if I practice on a regular basis, if I have a coach, if I'm part of a team, if we're inspiring each other to grow and develop our strength, our flexibility, our grounding, our focus, and especially our resilience, then I will go from maybe 2 feet to 3 feet, and I will slowly build that. I'm building my capacity. And that is, in essence, what we've been doing here. What we're doing here is building our capacity to be able to take on the possibility of stepping into the world, as we've been saying, as a midwife or a doula, to support those who are struggling in this time of extreme transition, of enormous pain and fear and anxiety, seeing the most horrific things that our human beings can do to each other in 2026. We're watching it on a daily basis. We're seeing reports of people starving around the world, suffering from war. There are people now, there are adults in Syrian refugee camps who were born in that refugee camp, who have never known anything else than living in a refugee camp. And there are 8 billion people on this planet. And in essence, the purpose of this is to what's going to get us off our couches and get us into action, not from judgment, not from I'm better than you or you're better than me. But if 8 billion people can move more into action, then we will see change for the better. So this heart walk is an idea of getting on the streets and engaging with strangers and walking side by side with them with different beliefs and backgrounds and culture, talking about peace with a nonviolent message. It's an appeal to the heart. And I've seen it happen when I'm walking and we're carrying our signs that say lasting peace one step at a time, or let's undivide the world together with a big heart. Usually what we're seeing is people will walk and they'll see that it's a demonstration, and I see it all the time in any city. As soon as they see it's a demonstration, they do this. They contract because they're waiting to see, is this something I'm for or is this something I'm against? And they're not going to relax until they know they can relax into I'm for this or I'm against it. And then they see it's simply about connecting from the heart, and that hardness just melts.
Yeah.
And they all get a beautiful smile on their face. That's the work of what we're doing in these sessions, is to activate in the people's hearts, hopefully to get them into action. So I'm going to show you, if you don't mind, and I'm going to, and I'm saving a surprise. Deborah, please bear with me. But I'll first show, well, no, I'll show you, some of you have, let's see, how do I, if you could see, that's the Washington, D.C. walk. Oh, that was going to, this is what the walk we did in Amsterdam. That's 11.4 kilometers. That's 7 miles. I'm very proud of us. And what I want to share is that Deborah joined in with her team of people. I remember I showed a picture of Deborah when she was out in the snow up 3 feet tall, which she does every weekend with some signs to just activate people. She's a living example of this. And during the heart walk, let's see, how do I get to this? She and her mates stood in the rain. Can you see that? Raise your hand if you can see that. During our heart walk, they were doing this. Isn't that I think that's remarkable. If you think it's remarkable, raise your hand or do a heart. On their own. I don't know where they came up with that costume, but every week they come with a different message, and and umbrellas. And I just wanted to share that this is what it's about. It's inspiring people around the world. So if you want to get involved with, oh, Deborah, would you like to say anything about, you can say no.
I just want you to notice the tulips that were behind us.
Oh, okay. I'll take a look. There was a lot that went into that, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And Deborah also spoke to us during the walk with such beautiful words. So if this interests you, please get in touch. And when we do another heart walk, you can watch online. But I want to just take this into some of our conversations that we've been having. For those of you who were there last time, this is the same theme of this. Tia made a comment, which I loved. And she said that she's, of course, enjoying the power of this, and that she's contemplating why I continue to delineate between loved one, stranger, and adversary. For her, she said, I'm speaking for her. I wish she was here, that she could have spoken for herself. But she says she's having trouble really understanding it, because for her, everyone's a loved one. And if that's her truth and she truly feels that in her heart, I stand behind that. And I think that's great. And I've taken a month to sit in meditation and contemplate that comment. That's how serious I take your comments, or for me, how important it is. And I want to talk about that. And I want to explain why we still do loved one, stranger, and adversary. And this isn't about right or wrong, and this isn't about capacity. I'm just going to speak for myself in this. The reason why I continue to do it is because there's still suffering in the world. And it comes from my tradition with Tibetan Buddhism is that, and I said that the definition of love is the desire to make others happy and acting on that desire, and that the definition of compassion is the desire to alleviate the suffering of others and acting on that desire. Compassion in action. They're not metaphors. They're not saccharine, sweet Hallmark cards. They're not, they could be emotions and feelings, but for me, they're verbs. And my life is devoted to being in action, to love, have love and compassion for others as much as I can. I don't do it all. Believe me, for those of you who know me in my daily life, I don't do it all the time. And I struggle with that as well. But if everyone was doing it, like I just said, there would be no hunger. There would be no war. When we can drop into our hearts, and we've had that, we cultivate that here, when we are truly in our hearts, in our humanity, and we can truly engage with another from their humanity, war is not possible in that moment. Hunger is not possible. So in a sense, the work is being able to maintain being in that heart resonance. What we're seeing in the world is how we're treating the planet and how we treat each other and other creatures is we're not in that heart resonance. So it's not a question of theoretically saying I love all beings, it's acting in that. And I want to give the example that I have given a few times. I've talked about this young woman who was in one of my classes years ago. I'm going back 25, maybe more. And when I was living in Amsterdam, I was teaching a course. It was an afternoon, and the venue we were using was like a neighborhood venue. What do we call that? Like a community center. So there were apartments around us. For those of you who know Amsterdam and Holland, you know it's small, right? So that you're on top of each other in a sense. We're in the middle of a training, and it was a beautiful day. And all of a sudden, a baby started crying outside. And the baby didn't stop crying. It got worse and worse. It was wailing. It was screeching with crying. I'm getting activated. My system is getting activated. I'm trying to continue teaching. I am continue teaching. But my system is getting activated. Other people in the room didn't even notice it. But there was one young woman who had just become a mother who stood up, screamed at the top of her lungs, and ran out of the room to deal with the problem. She didn't come back for about 15 minutes, and the baby stopped crying. And she didn't make the baby stop crying. I don't really remember what happened. What I'm bringing up here is an important example of what I think we're living in right now on this planet. If you look at the three different cases, most of the people in the room didn't even hear the baby crying. Let that sink in. I heard the baby crying. I was dysregulated. My body was doing this, and I didn't know what to do, but I stayed seated. And this woman got up and went and dealt with the situation. And we discussed it afterward. And for me, that was a huge lesson. That is, for me, the reason why we still do, in our practice, in our meditation, delineate between loved one, stranger, and adversary. Because here's the thing, and I'd like you to really take this in. When I say this, take this in. Most of the people in the room didn't even hear the baby crying. I heard the baby crying, got activated, didn't do anything. But if it was my baby, I would have been out there in a second. If it was the other people's baby who didn't hear anything, they would have been out there in a second. The woman who was in the room, she is genuinely a compassionate person, so she may have stood up, screeched, and ran out anyway. She had just become a mother, so that may have added to the fact that she was feeling the mother instinct and went out. Whatever it is I believe fully that if it was my child or the child of anyone else in the room, we would have all ran out. And I think that that is what's playing out in the world. because it's not our children starving in Gaza or Sudan, because it's not my race that is suffering the new laws that are happening in the United States, we're not taking action. And that doesn't make us right or wrong. It simply means we're not taking action. And I believe my remedy for that is when we can neutralize our labels of loved one, stranger, and adversary, then we will get more active, not only for our loved ones, but for strangers, maybe even for our adversaries. There's a young woman, she's not so young anymore. Do anyone know the name Julia Butterfly Hill? You should look her up. She's remarkable. Young woman, came from privilege, didn't need to do this. In 1979, she saw that they were cutting down trees, and there was one particular ancient tree that they were about to cut down. And she went up in the tree and said, I'm not coming out of this tree. If you're going to cut the tree, you have to cut me down as well. She stayed in that tree for 738 days. That's compassion in action. That's someone who's able to overcome the sense of, I'm going to take care of mine or myself even, and this tree needs me now, and I'm actually going to live full time in a tree for 738 days. This is where I'm saying that we can go. You don't have to, believe me, I could never live in a tree for 738 days. I couldn't live in a tree for 7 hours, but that's me. And I'm not asking you to, and I'm not saying that you have to be this extreme. But the purpose of the practice, just like with the pole vaulting, I can't jump 9 feet or 3 meters today. But if I practice diligently, I can go from 1 foot to 1.5 feet. I've increased my capacity by, I'm going to guess, like 33%. Help me, mathematicians. If I go from 1 foot to 1.5 feet, I think I've increased it by 33%, 33 and a third. And one thing I do have, and I feel vulnerable saying this because a lot of people have a problem when I talk about this. I have cultivated so much for me where I'm in my practice. I can feel the suffering of people who don't have homes, people who have been living in refugee camps all their lives, who are living in tents because their houses were blown up, homeless people in the richest cities in the world. So what that has done to me is I was in Paris just last year with my sister, and we walked past the Louvre, gorgeous, huge building with some of the most priceless and beautiful artwork in the world. And all I can think was, my God, how many homeless people could that building house? And I say that to my friends, and so it spoiled it for me. It's hard for me. My friends, this is how they all say it. Oh, but Joe, culture is so important, just like that. Oh, Joe, culture is so. And I say, of course, culture is. I'm not saying get rid of culture, but I am saying that at the same time, we're living in a time where people are, because of climate change, millions and millions, maybe billions of people are suffering and losing their homes. It's not 1950 where there was more luxury for certainly Western cultures to have a roof over their head. People can't, and where people could live maybe in tents or cabins in parts of the world can't because it's too hot or because there's too much rain, flooding. So in 2026, the issue around homelessness is different. And that's just how I've now wired myself, that I can't look at a museum and not think about how much space that could be used to house people. And I still have respect for art. And I'm not saying that I have a solution. I'm just saying that's what my practice has gotten me to do. Does that resonate? What I'm saying is that it's about shifting our own perspectives on this as a way of getting engaged. Does anybody have a comment on any of this, or maybe that last piece on museums? If I triggered you, please say something.
Joe,
Yeah,
what you said for me points to the need for a change of heart.
yeah.
And until that change of heart happens within individuals, the rest of it doesn't really change. And it can change in pockets. That's how it's going to start. It can change in pockets. It will change in pockets. And I don't, it's, I don't feel the need to pressure people until they've had that change of heart. I can invite them. Um, I can create the space for that. Um, but I don't really get upset with people for not doing whatever it is I think they could be doing to make things better.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm sitting with it now.
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. In a sense, for me, that confirms what I'm saying, which is it starts with the change of heart within us, and then having compassion for ourselves and others. And there's no shoulds and there's no forcing. And that's the essence of fierce ability. It's about understanding that coming with people with statistics and facts, if that would have worked 25 years ago, it would have already worked. The solution is an appeal to the heart. And by being in our hearts, we can activate other people's hearts. That's my, at least that's my strategy. Yeah.
And I would say that that's a requirement that if that I have to be in the space of my heart
Yeah.
to generate something new for somebody else.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
Just I did find myself a little triggered over the museums, but the most recent one I visited is about Native American in Rhode Island, um, and so for me, there's preserving part of what we've trampled in that, and um, so that was kind of the base. I realized that was kind of the basis of my reaction, and the daily awareness that there are segments of society who spend extravagant amount of money on luxuries, as other people um, are homeless, um, is the one that actually catches me much more deeply.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
The other one is that friends of color are getting pinched now, just in the last BY what Stephen Miller has done, and the cohort in the last 18 months to push them to the edge.
Yeah. Thank you, George.
I have a question and a reflection. Joe, with your story about the museum, I think what landed for me a bit differently than it has in the past. I've long held a cognitive awareness or understanding that there are, at least for me, costs, right? Costs to grieve when the heart opens more is how I think about it. And I think I felt that in your story, this real sense of like, there is, I don't know, I think a loss of something, whether it's good or bad, right? In this shifting of the heart that I'm hearing you and then maybe Deborah invoking or inviting into. And I think the grief on the other side of that, I think I felt the imminence of that differently in your story. And then the question I have, and I've been holding, I don't expect an answer, is this deeper question about readiness and in just observing nature and how nature appears to behave, that change and transformation, do they ever precede an organism's readiness, right? Or so when I think of, I try that on in the human context, my readiness and willingness to open my heart. Is my body regulated and safe enough for that opening to occur? So the deeper question, I think for me, I'm still holding and have been for a while, is can change precede readiness and be sustainable and peaceful, especially in the context of activism and or just largely any change or transformation? Just a larger question I'm holding. It's what's coming up for me.
Beautiful, because your questions is a deeper contemplation that feels like it's going to get you into action. It has the potential. And again, if I brought in any shoulds in any of this, it's not what I'm implying. And I'm not saying that any of you are saying that. And no one should be doing anything. But I'm just really trying to get to another layer of why we're doing this practice is the readiness, as you say, and recognizing that we should only step in and do whatever our capacity allows us to do, from safety and regulation and all of that. And in the preparation, we have the capacity to increase our capacity, in a sense, that we are more resilient. If we choose to, we're in the preparation.
I feel like my experience really points to a shift in paradigm. And I can look back 10 years ago, 20 years ago, things I was seeing and becoming aware of, I was just seeing and becoming aware of them and asking, and how come this and how come that? And now it's incorporated into my paradigm where action is taking place in a lot of that stuff. And so when I apologize, I was a little bit late, but the question, what I picked up on was when my paradigm changed, each time that happens, there's a bigger opening of my heart. And I've only, in the last few years become aware of the role that the heart plays in the paradigm that is embraced. And oftentimes it's different from those around that I've been associating with for years, because we're on, maybe it's not suddenly, but I recognize our paradigms have separated. We still have things in common. We're still holding things in common. But then there's a whole other section that it's not happening. And as you were saying, no amount of statistics, charts, videos, documentaries, and nothing, when someone isn't ready to actually change their paradigm, and I recognize what that means is, the admission was to myself, gee, I was either misinformed or I didn't care. That's even worse. I just didn't care. I knew about it and I didn't care. And then that opens up a whole bunch of shame and all of that kind of stuff. But I think that opening of the heart is goes hand in glove with the paradigm change of shift. Anyway, so.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else, or should we get started with our practice? Take this into our practice. You can, of course, share afterwards, after the practice, if you have. All right, so let's do the practice and take whatever you're experiencing right now. If there's activation, that's great. There's discomfort, fabulous. If there's a lot of open-heartedness, fabulous. All of it's, I guess, fabulous in this moment. Deborah, is John with us? Oh, nice. Hi, John. Oh, I see a shadow. There he is. Good to see you, John. Thank you. All right. So, as always, we're here to cultivate resilience and fierce compassion. Allowing that also, our definition of resilience is presence, awareness, balance, and flow. And if you connect that with what we're talking about, if we take more action, it's effortless because we're in a level of presence, awareness, balance, and flow. We're in presence and connection. We're not shoulding, we're not forcing. It's spontaneous out of our system, coming from our systems to take action, like the young woman in the class who stood up and went to see what was happening with the child. So in the sense of cultivating that, coming into power sit, where your spine is straight without being rigid. Also elongating from the back of your neck. So you're tucking in your chin a little bit. Your feet are flat on the floor, or if you're in meditation pose, then they're not on the floor. Your jaw is relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed, your belly is relaxed. Remember, there's no right way to do this or wrong way. It's about finding your way. In power sit, we now bring our awareness to our center. You bring your awareness to your center. A place in your lower belly, approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel, 1/3 of the way into the body. Focusing on that point, your center of gravity, impulse, gut wisdom, this energetic spot, what I would say is where your personal power resides. And it's your center of awareness, how you perceive your reality. From your center, opening your level of awareness, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on and the ground. That might be the bottoms of your feet, the backs of your thighs. And those points, your contact points, feel the pressure, gravity bringing you down closer to the ground, the chair, the cushion. Learning to trust that as stability. Powerful tool if you tend to spin out or disassociate or get dysregulated, to train yourself in those moments to, from your center, connect with your contact point so you feel your basis, your foundation, and you feel that you're held by the stable ground beneath you. And if you go deeper, metaphorically, by Mother Earth herself. Let yourself be held. With the support of Mother Earth under you, now we do a practice of bringing our awareness more into the present moment, beginning with yourself, or from your center, become aware of your physical body. Simply observe. You don't need to do anything. Let the body speak with you. Learn its language, its vocabulary. You'll be surprised how much wisdom and information it's always giving you in this present moment. You feel energy want to move through you, let it flow. You feel emotions want to flow through you, let them flow. All feelings are welcome. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. What emotions are you present to in this moment without judgment? You can give them the freedom to move through you. You don't need to do anything, just let them flow, or let them simply be and talk to you. From your center, become aware of your mental body, your thoughts. How activated is your mental self at this moment, your thoughts? Or how calm and focused are they? No judgment, no need to do anything, simply notice. Maintaining a connection with your core, with your center, your personal power, and your lower belly, and now bring awareness to the middle of your chest, where your heart center resides, where your heart power resides. Compassion, love, connection, wisdom. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of the part of you that has connection with something larger than yourself. And in this moment, what is your connection with something larger than yourself? And in how much can you feel that connecting with and influencing your heart and your personal power? And feeling the power of Mother Earth beneath you and something that is larger than yourself flowing from above, let that flow through you and out to fill your personal space, out to the boundaries of your personal boundaries, in all directions, particularly behind you and the sides of you, below you. Expanding your heart resonance. And in this moment, with a more of awareness of yourself in this present moment, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And building on this, continuing to maintain that heart resonance flowing out from your heart and your personal power, expanding your awareness now to your surroundings. So from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings. No need to use your eyes. Let the heart and your personal power make the connection. How might your surroundings be influencing you? Again, in all directions. Expanding your awareness even further from yourself now to your personal surroundings or your room where you are. And with that awareness of yourself and your surroundings, take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And stretching your capacity of awareness, maintaining connection with yourself and your surroundings. Now from your center and from your heart, reaching out to those in this meditation circle. Not only those of us on the World Wide Web, but those who are joining us offline around the world, in Europe, various parts of North America, Asia, and all around the world. What does it feel like? Can you feel like you might be influencing them simply from your heart and your presence and your awareness? And can you actually feel their hearts, their personal power influencing you as we weave a connection with our heart resonance with one another, increasing our field, allowing energy to flow through you and emotions to flow through you. And with this awareness of self and surroundings and those in this meditation circle from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And now stretching our capacity of our awareness from our hearts and our center, maintaining connection with yourself, your surroundings, and those in this meditation. From your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings. And notice in your heart who arises in your heart when you hear the words loved ones. Who pops up? What faces do you see? What groups of people? How many? How many can you hold in your heart? How do you define loved one? Have they always been loved one? Did you always know them? Were they ever stranger? Have your loved ones ever felt like an adversary? Maybe at holiday parties? So that we're practicing creating more flexibility around the rigidity of our labels. Feeling in your heart, your connection, your heart connection with these loved ones. And how much would you stand up right now, run out of the room to love them, to bring about their happiness, and to have compassion for them, to alleviate their suffering. And there's no right answers, it's simply observing. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label stranger. Who pops up in your heart? Do you have any strangers in your life? What faces or groups of people or images you might have of stranger? How many can you hold in your heart? And consider how rigid is that label. Do they always have to be stranger? Could that change? Do they have the potential of being loved one? And in this moment, how active do you feel to step up to love them and have compassion for them? Anywhere in the world, make them happy, alleviate their suffering. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label as adversary. Does anyone pop up in your heart or in your awareness? What faces do you see? Groups of people? Have your adversaries always been your adversaries? Are they actually adversaries or simply strangers that you haven't met yet and have a story about them? Do they have the potential to become a loved one or a stranger? Take them out of adversary category. It's just an investigation. And in how much do you feel in this moment from a spontaneous action in your heart to love and have compassion for them? Now, what happens in this moment if you can just play with the idea that in this moment, all of that dissolves and you're simply holding in your heart a group of human beings that aren't even loved ones, They're no longer strangers. They're no longer adversaries. And they're also no longer loved ones. They're simply human beings. That you would have the capacity to jump up and love them and have compassion for them, for any one of them equally. And imagine that they do the same, and you doing that, you dissolve their rigid labels within their hearts. And all they see you as is a human being. And just feel it in your heart and your core, what that's like to be in communion, community, connection with a bunch of human beings that you hold equally in your heart, and they hold you equally. Consider the consequences and the benefits of that, what that might shift on the planet. And see in all of those human beings, and including yourself, the flame in their heart just get ignited. One flame eventually for all. How that would benefit the creatures of the planet, the non-humans, and the planet itself. And with that image, with that sense, and with the felt experience of that, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And in essence, pull that image with you of the earth, of all creatures, of all humans. Pull them now into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle. And imagine that by just resonating with the hearts of everyone in this meditation circle, being in that same heart-centered field, that we all feel a shared sense of what that would be like. And with gratitude and honor, take those in this meditation circle into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings, anchoring that image, that possibility into the place where you live, your day-to-day reality. And with gratitude, taking your surroundings into your heart as you bring that back to yourself. And as Deborah mentioned and others have mentioned, remembering that this all starts with you. And how much can you actually even just start with having more love and compassion for yourself, your own happiness, alleviating your own suffering. And with that flame in your heart and noticing the benefits of this practice, allow that to flow into every cell of your body, activating and enlivening all of your cells, seeping into your organs to nurture, to heal, especially your brain, your lungs, your heart, and letting it seep into your nervous system as a way to remember this, the neuroplasticity, the muscle memory. As a way to close this practice, let's take one final breath. In through your nose, and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Look around the room, remembering where you are, stretching your body, shaking your body, coming into your body. So we had a chance to reflect we had a chance to practice, and now we have time to share before we close. Does anybody want to share what your experience was? Anything you want to share more about the discussion we had?
Yeah, I like to share.
Mm.
First, I want to say, I'm going to sit very still, then you can see me. When you look at the map of Amsterdam and you see the heart, it's an angel.
Mhm.
Did you see it? Beautiful.
I saw a bird. I didn't see an angel, but yes,
Oh,
okay.
well, come sit next to me, then you see an angel.
I'll see it through your eyes.
Yeah. And you put it the question, the three different parts, lovers, strangers, adversaries. I can feel when I start with the lovers that I can go in a smooth way to strangers, and that makes me more open for the adversaries. So it feels like how you call it in a play garden.
Playground.
Ja, nee, een
Playground?
glijbaan.
No, a glijbaan. A slide or a
A
roller
slide,
coaster.
yes.
Slide, yeah.
Yes, I can slide from the lovers to the strangers to the adversaries. So I need that. And maybe in the future not, or someday not, and another day I need it again. But I can feel it's a smooth way.
Mm.
So I keep it for now.
Thank you. Let's take a breath. And that's what I just want to share. I love hearing that because you're finding your own way. You're finding your own strategies to get into your heart. And I encourage you. You're all doing that. I encourage you to share how you're doing it. Everyone has their own way, or might be similar. I don't know, but it's great to hear how you're using your wisdom and skill to find your way.
And
Deborah? Oh,
yeah, I realize when I start with loved ones, I always start with family and friends, but they're not always, they don't feel every day like lovers or loved
right.
ones. Sometimes I have opinions about them and they about me, and then I can't feel their loved ones. So they shift to another category, and then they come back through the back door. So that's a nice way for me to get them back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Deborah?
So for my loved ones, easy, fun, pleasurable. For the stranger, easy because I wasn't holding anything about them. Adversary, I usually choose somebody in my own experience with whom I experience difficulty. That can be pretty easy. But so it was also easy. I decided to bring Stephen Miller in as my adversary. And if you don't know who he is, he's the white nationalist who is, I believe, I'm going to get this wrong, chief of staff for President Trump. Nope. That was a bridge too far. And it was so interesting that by stepping it up and looking at that, and at the point of saying, holding all of them in the same light, what happened was everybody got nondescript. And there were no beloveds anymore because they all became the same. It was very interesting.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your process. And for me, just to come back to the metaphor of pole vaulting, basically you said was I can do this high. I decided to really take a risk and see if I could do a lot higher. And then you just discovered, Not yet. Not yet. But you now know there's benefit to that, to try that and say, I'm not there yet, to appreciate where you are. Yeah.
You are muted, Joe.
Because there are neighbors who are out here, and you wouldn't understand it's Italian. You would understand what they're saying. Did you want to say something, Ophelia?
Oh, I don't think so. I enjoy the meditation, the practice a lot. I'm here with Mariana.
Oh, Mariana.
We both enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
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 Thank you. Thank you all to make it possible.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I love the contemplation and the dialogue. I really appreciate that and hearing your viewpoints. It helps me sharpen my message and my thoughts and my viewpoints. And it's just a joy and an honor to get to do this with many of you every month or almost every month. Very grateful. So of course we're going to be here next month, the second Tuesday of the month. So please join in. And as I always say, if you can think of people who may be interested to try it for the first time, invite them. Where was I'm going to put this in the chat as I always do. If you'd like to make a donation for this, please do. And the money goes to doing heart walks and other events through the 𝗵𝗶 Project. Sign up for our newsletter so you can get events of what's coming up. A link to my TEDx talk, or purchase books, or get an Occupy Here t-shirt. These are all the links you can use. I'm trying to think if there's any events coming up at the moment. Open events, not at the moment, but I will definitely keep you updated if there is. So let's close this. Does anybody have a closing dedication? I always do it, but I'm wondering if anybody else has one that might want to do one. What we do with the dedication is the energy we generated, we focus that and send it out with intention to places where we think it might be needed. We generated an enormous amount of heart energy. Anybody want to do that? I guess I'll do it then. So just hold it in your heart, just thinking of the energy we've generated. Whatever label you might have for them, people who are suffering right now, people in war zones who could use a little bit of love and soothing, sense of grounding, sense of comfort, sense of refuge. People who are in a state of disbelief of what's happening in the United States at this moment. The people that are going to suffer because of what's happening in the United States. May this bring them some soothing. And may the energy we've generated spread out to all world leaders and governments, that they may govern instead of from fear and greed, that they've governed from compassion for all and love for all. Okay. Thank you. Be well. If you want to get in touch, if you have any more thoughts on what we've been discussing, feel free to do that. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.